Wreck-It Ralph. It's a film that sets itself apart from other Disney films in many ways. It's set within the video games that inhabit the arcade. Video game bad guy Ralph is tired of his job, so he breaks the rules and tries to prove himself a hero. Along the way, he meets another character that has trouble fitting in, and the two make a bond, but the arcade is in jeopardy at the same time. The film came out in 2012, which is about 10 years ago. Do I feel old? I don't know, but I remember when I first saw the film in theaters, as well as when I saw it for the second time in theaters, and then when I got the DVD. It was like an obsession to me. As a kid, I loved this movie. As an adult, I now appreciate all the tribute it pays to the world of gaming, especially how it shows respect to the culture, not just of the present, but of the past, too. A lot of the respect comes from all the characters you see. What other film can you name where franchises like Pac-Man, Street Fighter, Dance Dance Revolution, and many other games meet? There's also the subtle references, like some graffiti on the walls, one of which says Shang Long was here, in reference to Ryu's mistranslated taunting screen in Street Fighter 2. There's also the Konami code featured. Some characters have jerky movements that reflect the limited sprite animations of many 8-bit games, and one of the songs of the soundtrack has an 80s feel that I believe was based on Pac-Man Fever. Listen.
Wreck it, Ralph, as fast as you can. You know you can do it with your colossal hands. 'Cause I got Pac-Man fever. Pac-Man fever. It's driving me crazy. Driving me crazy.
I could talk more about it, but I'm here to talk about the game. Yeah, Wreck-It Ralph, the game. Did you know it existed? Probably not. Before the film came out, there was a website dedicated to promoting the film, with flash game versions of some of the fictional arcade games you see in the movie. There is also plenty of merchandise and action figures, a sequel, and some sweepstakes even ran where contestants can win an actual Fix-It Felix Jr. arcade cabinet. Ralph was also a playable character in Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing Transformed and in Disney Infinity alongside Vanellope von Schweetz. But then we got this game for the Wii, which came out in conjunction with the film. I remember owning the DS version, but I have seen the Wii version, but even back in the day, hardly anyone talked about it. And why is that? Well, that's what I'm about to find out. Let's press start. As far as story goes, it's pretty clear that it's set after the events of the movie. While watching one of Vanellope's races, Ralph accidentally drops a Cybug egg, which hatches, the Cybugs multiply, they start invading the arcade. Maybe the gameplay will make up for this plot that's even more lame than when Ralph and Vanellope would travel the internet 6 years later. Once we're past the opening cutscene, look at those graphics. This is 6 years in the Wii's lifespan, and this is the best this game has to offer. I know that third-party games on the Wii aren't known to look as good as Nintendo's games, but I've seen much better, even from third-party Wii games. Just a reminder, this game came out in 2012 and looks like it belongs on PlayStation 2. With a game based on Wreck-It Ralph, it would be nice to have 4 playable characters for a 4-player game. Ralph, Felix, Vanellope, Calhoun. A game like that could be awesome. It could be like one of those arcade-style beat-em-up games, like Streets of Rage or Final Fight. If you were expecting anything like that from this game, then that's just proof you came from an alternate dimension. The tutorial level makes it pretty clear already that it's not what you'd expect. It's a single-player only game, and you take control of Ralph and Felix. Throughout the game, you'd switch between the two characters in order to progress through the levels. You know why it's single-player? Well, it's the way the levels are designed. There are narrow spaces that only Felix can get through since he's shorter. On top of that, unlike Ralph, he can double jump and even wall jump. But only Ralph can bust through the crates. He's got this ground stomp thing to take out crates from underneath, and can push crates into different positions so Felix can reach higher places he couldn't reach on his own. Lastly, only Ralph can climb ladders and climb across certain ceilings. All Felix can do to really help make the levels easier is fix these mechanisms. That's about it. Once you get past the tutorial, you got 3 different games to enter and battle the Cybugs in. You got Fix-It Felix Jr., Hero's Duty, and Sugar Rush. Those are the 3 fictional games from the movie, but why are those the only 3 games the Cybugs invade? Did the game designers even know what a Cybug is? Cybugs are like a virus. They don't know they're in a game. All they know is eat, kill, multiply. In that case, they should be invading every other game until the arcade is nothing but a smoky husk of forgotten dreams. I mean, for goodness sake, they got out of Sugar Rush in swarms. You'd think they'd divide and conquer and get pretty far with that. In each of these 3 games, you play 4 levels, and once you're done with all those, you get to play a boss level for each of those games as well. When you start the first level of any of these games, you get to see one of these quote-unquote cutscenes. What's with the models? Why do they look like crap? While we're at it, neither character's facial expression changes based on the dialogue.
Oh my land! Look what those horrible bugs did to your home!
Actually, they haven't touched this. Now let's get to work!
You think they were actually posing action figures on top of a green screen, then got drunk while saying the filters. While fighting Cybugs, typically, Ralph is a stronger guy. He takes most of them out with one punch. With Felix, you'd have to hit the Cybug a few times in order to kill them. What do you expect from someone using a magic hammer made only for the purpose of repairs? The only way Felix can kill Cybugs with one hit is by throwing his hammer at them. Okay, why does bashing them take a few shots, but throwing it takes them out in one shot? I love how the Cybug kills are different based on which character you use. If it's Felix, the Cybug turns back into an A. Probably to signify that they're being fixed by reversing their life. Climbing this building's a real chore. First off, you need to be Felix, then you have to very carefully jump from platform to platform during your ascent. You don't even need to get to the top to beat the level, but trying to do so really demonstrates the awful controls. Felix just keeps slipping around the platforms like he's on ice. On top of that, your jumps just barely reach the platforms on the side of this building. You have to be standing in the precise spot in order to leap and climb up the edge. You have no idea how many times I've fallen and had to make my way back up. Just to add to the annoyance, every time Felix needs to balance on the edge, he says, "Careful."
Careful, careful, careful.
Maybe it's fine a few times, but whose idea was it to have it be so repetitive? If it's trying to soothe the pain of climbing this building, it's doing the complete opposite. I'm still falling so often. Gosh dang it!
Careful.
When you get to this part, you collect a pie, which acts as a 1-up. And then there's more platforms, and look at this! I just slipped right off! Now I have to progress my way back up again. Ugh! Crap! Ugh! The top for what? A lousy medal? Jeez, I dropped my gravity is apparently heavier than the camera. That's another problem. Why does the camera have such a hard time keeping your character in the center of the screen? I love how there's a sign telling me that if I fall in the river, I die. Well, let's think about this. If that sign wasn't there, would you be able to tell that it's a hazard? Nah, no way you could tell even with how the clips are separated. Then they have this Ralph head to indicate that Ralph can climb the ladder. Okay, but we've already played the tutorial stage. Why do we need the indicators? Also, I'm all for the idea of this wagon hurting you when it rolls down and hits you, but why does it still need to hurt you while it's just sitting in place? What kind of wuss is Ralph anyway? And look, there's a Felix head to indicate that Felix can wall jump. But even without this moving platform that you can use instead of wall jumping, does it need to be there? No. Like I said, we've already played the tutorial. We're not freaking idiots. Oh, the Felix head is there to indicate that he can fit through. Well, no kidding. If you try it with Ralph, it won't work. Felix is smaller. I would have been able to figure that out on my own. These sections are pretty nice though. We get these little trampolines, basically to launch Felix up to these small platforms. These are the ones I was supposed to be jumping across to advance in this level, but I fell and was thankful the game designers were nice enough to leave me with a way to get back to where I was. Gee, isn't that enough indicators? Why do these indicators need to be there? I already know which character to use just by looking at the objects. That big stack of crates ahead of me, only Ralph could bust through that. What the heck could Felix do with that stack of crates? Not wrecking them, that's for sure. But then there's this section. I'm supposed to wall jump my way to this panel so I can fix it, but I can't get enough height from my wall jumps to make the distance. So, you know what I had to do? I had to get Ralph to destroy a set of crates higher up, but still leaving one crate for Felix to stand on and make the jump from there, then fix the panel, which absolutely didn't need Felix's head there. It's a broken circuit panel. Ralph would just make the damage worse. I know this game is meant for kids, but how low are we going here? Is it so that all you have to do to play this game is just be born? Look how much jumping was required just to make sure you make these jumps with the moving platforms and these crushers at the same time. It was tricky stuff. Boy, am I sick of those crushers. Yes, I know I need Felix for this! But first need to get the gears from those higher platforms. Then I can fix it. You know, one last complaint about the indicators. Maybe they would have been okay for the tutorial and not, you know, the actual game. Now I get to this segment. First, you have to go down, flip a switch. And hurry your butt through this passageway with the crushers and make it through before the wall comes back and you have to flip the switch again. And punching these cyborgs that fly is annoying because you have to use the third punch to hit them. And that's real fun, isn't it? Hitting someone above you while standing on the ground. You gotta love this part. You're running up a conveyor belt and this wheelbarrow flies at you. At least it warns you of a hazard.
Okay.
Then there's these signs that show a death trap you can't even fall in. I see the electricity underneath the platform. But how am I gonna fall in there, genius? That would be like if in a building there was a wet floor sign, but the wet floor is not on the floor the sign is on, it's just a few floors down. That's what this game's logic feels like. Now that we're done with Fix-It Felix Jr., let's head over to Hero's Duty. One thing they really slacked on, with all 3 games level select, no matter which one, you always get the Fix-It Felix border graphics. Why is that? I get that Ralph and Felix are the only 2 playable characters, but have some variety. You already got enough problems with the bad graphics to deal with. Hero's Duty was meant to be a modern-day first-person shooter, yet here it looks like it came out during the Xbox PlayStation 2 era. These levels consist of these moving platforms you gotta jump across, and these laser gates you need to open by fixing the panels. Then you get to this part. After beating the Cybug, I figured all I needed to do was smash my way through with Ralph, but I tried a few times and it wouldn't work. But then... That was a door?! Oh, how I bask in my own stupidity. Next, I get to this part with the cylinders. I have to climb across the ceiling without hitting the cylinders. It was pretty frustrating watching myself fall a couple times, but eventually I got the pattern down and all was well. I hate this part too. The cylinders crush you. If you get caught, you take a deal of damage. Ah, that is so irritating. This part is interesting. First you see a lever and a panel. Okay, what do I do here? Okay, that's an interesting puzzle. But my real question is, why do the Felix heads needs to be there? I also really gotta mention the Mega Man vibes I get going through these doors. Alright, going through the platforms, fixing things as we go, and look at this! Felix is too big for this opening? If I wasn't meant to fit there, couldn't they have put that closer to the ceiling? What? Another one of these? This time the lights are faster! You gotta love the warning sign for falling off the platforms. There's fire right underneath. Of course it's gonna kill me. Oh great, another locked door. How do I open this one? You have to time these as best you can. There's no pattern for when the light's gonna hit these gates. You have to get lucky. It's not really worth it. All you're getting for the final stretch of this level is a rip-off of Super Mario Brothers, complete with dropping the Cybug in the acid. They even put a pie floating in midair after you kill him, you know, in case you wanted to kill yourself trying to get it. The last level of Hero's Duty gives you this panel to repair and it resembles Donkey Kong, if Donkey Kong was made less fun. Why does this game have to be so easy? What's with all the repair jobs? I fix one panel, and it just opens the way for another panel. This doesn't add to any of the challenge in the game, it just makes you do more of the same thing. What?
Yes. Repairing?
I can fix it.
Careful.
So you just collect these pieces to fix up this robot that busts through a wall so you can advance. Alright. Now let's move on to Sugar Rush. Honestly, the only game where graphics like this would be somewhat acceptable, because Sugar Rush resembles a racing game made in the late 90s. Well, I prefer if in this game it looked more, you know, modern. These levels aren't really that special. Bust through suites, flip levers to open gates, fix 5 panels just to get past a set of popsicle doors. Yes, 5 panels! 5! Just for one set of doors! Again, the game is not difficult, not at all. It's actually really easy. It's just very tedious and repetitive. You do too much the same thing. You solve boring puzzles, you fight the same enemies, you bust things, you fix things. Who'd want to play through all that? There's nothing challenging about this game. It's just a bunch of broken records. Broken by Ralph himself. I guess that's something new. This hard to reach lever that requires having stood in the right spot and jumping from the right angle. No, it's not even that fun. Next thing I know, I'm jumping across candy canes trying not to die in a taffy swamp, then fixing up Penelope's car only to break it again in order to destroy this barricade. Next comes this part, where there's a warning sign about deadly taffy. Well, thank goodness for the warning, because honestly, you'd think you'd be able to cross it without jumping if it wasn't there. That's 1 point for the signs. The only point. Now I'm jumping across platforms over a chocolate pond. Just make your way across and don't fall in like Augustus Gloop in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Oh, how swell. The only part where throwing your hammer is useful in other areas and against Cybugs. Throw it at this glitched out lollipop, and then, oh wait, the game hint's already telling you what to do.
Just out of reach. Maybe I could reach it with my hammer.
Maybe, Felix? Maybe? How about definitely? You couldn't have said that when you first came across something like this? Then there's this part where you're fixing panels to get these gummy worms out of the way so you can fix more panels, then flip a switch. This switch gives you just barely enough time to get through the door. It took me a crap ton of tries because the wall jumping keeps screwing me up. Dang! Crap, crap, crap! You think you can just wall jump high up the wall to make it to the door, but you can't. Holy crap, finally. Just making my way through Diet Cola Mountain. Then we come to this part. In order to ride this platform across the cola, you first have to activate it, then charge with Ralph to catch up, because that thing moves fast. Be wary of the hot springs underneath, and watch out for falling Mentos. Nah, just kidding, they just hang there, no way to interact with them. Now I've beaten those levels, so now I'm playing the boss levels. They're all giant Cybugs, they each have their own degree of difficulty. In Fix It Felix Jr., you get in close as Ralph and punch the crap out of him. Just watch out for the patterns and be careful when he flies up and starts shooting at you. Oh, and yeah, you can't hurt the boss when you're Felix. I tried.
Okay.
In Hero's Duty, it's a bit more tricky. First, you have to climb up to meet the boss, then punch it until all its energy is drained. Switch to Felix, then fix one of the panels. The tricky part is that you need to drain the boss's life meter before you can fix any panels. Then once you drain the energy, you can only fix one panel before the boss recovers all its energy. And while it has energy, the panels are protected by these force fields. So you have to punch the boss out first, then fix a panel. You'll win the fight once all 4 panels are fixed. Yeah, pretty easy. Sugar Rush is definitely the hardest of them all. What you need to do is bash your way through the ice cream to get to the boss, but he's constantly shooting at you, and when you get close to punch him, which is what you need to do in order to damage him, it's just destroying your health faster than a chicken hawk and a coop of crippled roosters. It's just frustrating. Once you're done with that little cavity, it's back to Game Central Station, where you got a huge threat right in the center of it. The final boss. Oh, I'm sorry, did I say huge threat? I meant huge wuss. He's very easy. What you need to do is have Felix repair one of these sockets, then switch to Ralph and bash the arm that's stuck to it. That's it. He's such a pushover. I've only been playing this game for about an hour and a half, and already I beat the final boss. Do I feel accomplished? I don't. Not even this ending cutscene can do anything for me. It's absolutely nothing special. Here's my little note. To Steak Brain, this game had so much wasted potential. Sweet mother of a monkey milk, the wasted potential. The selfish, greedy business people that would rather put out a bad product as opposed to something that would actually work better are like mangy dogs chasing cautionary tales. Oh, now I know how Ralph felt being the bad guy for 30 years. Well, screw this game. I'm gonna wreck it! That's not gonna work. Hang on. I can fix it!
Fix it, Felix, as fast as you can. Use a magic hammer, you